Hi, I'm Kevin Cornwell. Welcome to You, Me and Mediumship. A few videos really explaining some of the aspects of mediumship and a little philosophy in there as well. Bits and pieces that I've written about in the past that can be found on Facebook on You, Me and Mediumship. Something for you there to have a read. And you can message me and ask any questions. And tonight's video basically is about mediumship. What is it and how does it work? And I think if we start basically from the beginning, is that we are all spirit. We are all connected to source. We all have source within. We have the energy of source that we see in everything. Everything around us contains that energy, that life source. And it's important in the early days, I've said this in other videos, it's important in early days that we learn about ourselves, we connect to that source within us. And if you're not too sure what I mean by source, there are a number of labels that over time the human race has given it, and it's God, all that is, the Great Spirit. There's a number of different labels for this source. This source focuses on love, life itself. It focuses on, well, it has purpose. Its purpose being to obviously build itself. And the more stronger and deeper this source becomes, the better we are as human beings, the better we are looking after the world that we live in, this actual planet itself. As this source builds, we become more knowledgeable, and the more we emulate this source from us, the more it will spread and the better world it will be. Now, to connect to the source itself takes, I believe, a number of years of sitting in that silence and connecting with it, learning all about self. And that is really the first step. Before you read any books, go on any courses or anything like that, if you can just grasp the connecting to self first, then that is one big step in the right direction. Now, we are all, as I said, we are all spirit. And spirit contained within source. The aim of a medium is to connect with spirit of loved ones, friends, all sorts of different relationships that I've done readings for in the past, and to connect to this source, or to this spirit rather, of a loved one, then we must be able to connect with our own source stroke spirit first. It is those two energies that blend in a communication. It is your source, your spirit, your energy that blends with the same in a soul that has passed. So hence the importance of getting to connect to your own source, your own spirit first. Because once you connect to yourself, you can connect to an energy, another source, another spirit. Basically, that's how mediumship works. So it's connecting self with, or the energy around self, the source within self, to the source, the spirit of a loved one that has passed. Now, there are other abilities that use the energy fields. They can read your energy. There are people that can read your energy, the energy that surrounds you. And they can give you information, they can kind of point you in the right direction sometimes. And this is more of a psychic ability. It works on a slightly lower vibration because it is the energy that surrounds you as a human being, you as a person. And by connecting with that, we can give information of past, present and future. So that's more on a psychic level. There are lots of different gifts that people have that work within the energies around us. But for now, we're just going to talk about mediumship. It's important as mediums that we give accurate information. And the more accurate that information is, the better it is, not only for mediums as a whole, but for the whole thing that we're trying to prove. So if we give hit and miss information and somebody walks away from a reading still not sure that you have connected with that loved one, then it doesn't do mediumship any favours at all. In fact, it can make life quite difficult for everybody. There will always be somebody somewhere who thinks they know how we do it. We see that all the time. So it's important that as a medium you avoid that. So don't put yourself in any silly situations. Never use any information that comes from anywhere else apart from spirit. And if there isn't a connection there, or you find it very difficult to get that connection, it's very important that you're honest. You say, I'm sorry, I just cannot get a connection for you, or this connection is not very strong. It's better to be honest than try and bluff your way through a reading just to try and please the sitter. And if that sitter has paid you to come along, then it's simple. You just do not charge. If you are unable to give a message, just walk away and apologise. And the last thing you should do is charge a fee for that. That's just not right. So getting back to the basics of it. So learn about self. Okay, sit, and whilst learning about self and you are expanding that energy field within source, you will find there will come a time when those that work with you from spirit will make themselves known to you. And that relationship is so, so important. You must build upon that relationship. Get to know these energies, get to know them well. You will know when they are there when you are doing a reading for somebody, because there will be little hints, things that you'll pick up over the years. For me, it's an intense feeling. Some people will say it's your third eye, whatever you want to call it, but just here I get a really intense feeling, a tightening. I know when they're drawing close, and then I sense them come in. If I struggle with a reading, if there's something I just cannot pick up, I will ask those helpers. I said helpers. I will ask them for help. Please, can you make this clearer for me? Same with the description. If I can't quite get close enough or see clearly enough a description, then I will ask for my helpers to bring that spirit forward towards me so that I can get a clearer picture. They are there, they will help you. If you just sit there struggling, then there's just no point in doing what you're doing. Ask for help from the people, the souls, the spirit, the energies, the guides, because they will give you help. Believe me, they do. So in the early days, anybody who says I'm not nervous, I'm sorry, I don't believe, because you are nervous. But the beauty of mediumship is that once that link comes in, the human emotion side tends to just fall away. Those nerves will just go. I've done demonstrations in front of rooms of people in the past, and when it's all over, I rarely remember much about it, to be quite honest. You are that far gone, if you like. You are reaching out that far that you have, for some reason, I have very little memory of some of the readings. Ones that are sometimes a little strange in some of the objects they give me, or some of the quotes that they give me are a little odd or funny even. I will remember some of those, but some of the other things I don't always remember. And it's interesting sometimes, because at the end of a demonstration, bless them, they come up to you, people will come up to you and they will say, thank you so much for my message. It meant an awful lot. And sometimes you have to just nod your head and think, that's no problem at all. And you're thinking, what message was that? I can't, and that's just how it is. But the most important thing is you got that message across. So whether you remember it or not is unimportant. So work hard at your mediumship. Okay, you need to work very, very hard. It is not glorious. Some people seem to think that it's full of glory and stardom and to be honest, the only reason we have stardom or fame within mediumship sometimes is because it is our fault, because we are the ones who put them on pedestals. We put the mediums up there on pedestals. And to me, sometimes that can be quite dangerous in the sense that by putting them on the pedestal, we are then demanding that they perform. And if that evening when they're stood up there giving information and it's not quite accurate, or it's proving to be hard work, then that is so much pressure. Okay, so if you're famous and you're out there doing what you do and you have an evening where you struggle, that fame then becomes pressure. That's the only thing I don't like about it. It's nice to get the word of mediumship out there. That's great. That's fantastic. But I think sometimes Joe Blogs, the public, need to realise that there are nights that you just cannot get that clarity, no matter how hard you try. And although it's rare, it does happen. And another thing with mediumship that I'd like to mention as well is that if you don't feel right about doing a reading, if you don't feel 100% in doing a demonstration, I think sometimes it's best just to apologise and don't do it. Big mistake I made early on was you have other things going on in your life, and you worry about things and you're just not 100%, and you still go and do that demonstration. I think sometimes it can't be helped, but it could be short notice, and you can't let the church down, you can't let the centre down, and lots of people are coming, and you're pressured, you've got to do it. But there are times when maybe things alter in your life, things change in your life, and you feel like, I don't know how I'm going to do this demonstration in a couple of weeks. And if it's a couple of weeks away and you've got a feeling that things aren't going to be quite right by then the best thing to do is to cancel and let someone else take the evening for you. It really is. So don't feel that you are under pressure to go and do a demonstration. If it's a couple of weeks away and you can step down from it because of personal reasons and you're not 100%, then it's best just not to do it and to back down. Now, we all know, in all truth and honesty, that mediumship is taboo amongst many people. Some religious organisations are dead against what we do, and there's an answer for every argument, but we're not there to argue. If you're doing something wrong, that's the only time that you need to defend yourself. And if you're not doing anything wrong at all, then don't get involved in the argument side of things. It's best just to walk away. You will prove your point in what you do, and that's good enough. And if you spend an hour doing a demonstration and you give 2-3 messages that are absolutely spot on, and you change somebody's world by giving that message, then your job is finished. That's it, you are done. Okay? You don't have to give a message to everybody in the room, because you wouldn't have time, and you'd be well too tired to do that. But it's just that 1 or 2 messages that change the whole outlook for somebody. You give them information that you could not have got from elsewhere. It had to have come from that relative. Then your job is done. You've put that spark of thought in the mind of the sitters. And that is our job, to put that spark there, because they will walk away and they will think. They will think about the afterlife. They will think about things like karma. They will think about all sorts of things. And you've got that ball rolling by giving that piece of information. And talking about information, doesn't matter how silly that whisper comes to you, or comes through to you. It doesn't matter how silly that statement is. When you hear that whisper and you think, no, I'm not repeating that, that's not right, or never question it, it's a big mistake. Do not question it, give it. I've come out with some really daft things in the past, and yeah, I've sat there or stood there and thought, no, that's not right. You can throw it back and ask again, and if it comes through again, exactly the same, give it. And you can't be a bully. You can't make somebody take something that you've said. If it's they're shaking their head, go back and ask again. Don't just take it that you're wrong, okay? Go back and ask again, give it again. If it is still wrong, the chances are then you may well be with the wrong person. So, however silly the information is, some of you all work differently, however silly the statement is that is whispered to you, however odd the object is that you can see, however odd the emotion is that you feel, it's important that you give it. You will find over time as well, as personalities draw close to you, you will take on certain traits of that personality. The number of times I've been told it's not so much what you said, although that is right, it's how you said it. Because you said it in such a way, or the identical way, as to how Grandad would have said it, how Grandma would have said it. So that personality, you absorb the personality of the energy that is around you. And sometimes that can be really odd, a strange feeling, but allow that to flow, allow that personality to come through you. If you want to march up and down the stage or whatever, if you want to hold your head in a certain way, if you feel that that's how they would have said it, then do it. Okay, allow that energy in and absorb the energy. So one or two little bits and pieces there, just to help some of the newbies on the road to mediumship. I don't believe anybody can, and I certainly cannot teach you how to be a medium. I can just give you some ideas of, as you demonstrate some of the things that you need just to remember. If you spend that time with energy, spirit, the source itself, if you spend that time with the helpers, your guides, they will be forever your best teachers. You will never ever learn from a book what they can teach you. You will never learn on a course what they can teach you. They will work with you even when you're not fully aware they're working with you. They will work with you. But give them that respect. Give them that time. Give them your time. Sit with them. Get to know each other. Okay? I hope that helps a bit. Any questions? Facebook, You, Me and Mediumship. Send a message through there and I'll do my best to answer it. Okay, if there's anything that you're not too sure about, feel free to ask. I love what I do. It is nerve-wracking at times. We all get a little bit nervous, but believe me, just the look on a sitter's face when you give that piece of information and the love that you feel when you get that connection that is coming through you is nothing like you experience. Believe me, you've not experienced that in life. It can literally, and now I always think this is where the saying come from, that it can take your breath away. And I'm sure whoever made up that saying, love that takes your breath away, was a medium, because it does literally take your breath away. It is unbelievable. It's fantastic. So all the best. You, Me and Mediumship on Facebook. Please subscribe. Please like the video, if you like it, of course, which I hope you do. And I'll make another video very soon. Thanks for listening. Bye.